Now we can start.
Welcome everybody to the Synapse Philosophy Group. We are on the 33 Principles, the senior text of Stevenson's textbook, page 238, the Triune of Life, number 4. We're going to do number 5 as well. We may even get to number 6. We're going to discuss it. The rules of the game, if someone hasn't been here for a while, we got a lot of people come in from Europe that have been logging in because they get this much later, that this is an open discussion. And everyone, there's no right and wrong. And, you know, everybody's free to express themselves and ask questions for clarity. I need clarity on these things myself. So I'm going to start reading this one too. All right. The Triunity of Life. Life is a triunity having 3 necessary united factors: intelligence, force, and matter. Without intelligence, matter could not even exist. Without matter, intelligence could not be expressed. Then there is a bond between intelligence and matter that cannot be dispensed with. These 3 factors, intelligence, matter, and the bond between them, are inseparable. The bond is called force. This is sometimes called the missing link. Unlike other sciences, which study them separately, chiropractic studies them together. From this fundamental arises Dr. Palmer's comparison and his epigram. See Article 20, which I don't necessarily have right now. I'm not looking for it unless you guys have it. So what do you think about the Triunity of Life? We need intelligence.
I'm not sure what force is. Can somebody explain it to me?
Well, we did that.
We did this one already? Force.
Yes, we did, but I still don't understand it.
Well, let's look up a definition of force.
Sure.
I think there's a chiropractic meaning that isn't necessary. What is force, though?
Well, I mean, what can we call force? Is really energy. Strength or energy exerted or brought to bear, cause of motion or change. Active power, the forces of nature, the motivating force in her life. Okay.
Well, what I'm asking is force physical?
No.
Well, do you need intelligence to create matter, and the force between intelligence and matter? So, okay, Alan, what do you mean? No, you don't need it.
I'm looking for it because I think we talked about this some, and it has to do with phorons, and I have to figure out where that was when I found it last time.
Well, they didn't really know about muons and phorons and pions.
No, phorons as in the phorons that BJ talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. I like that. Well, let's think about force holding everything together. Is force intelligently directed? I believe in my consciousness of what this understanding is. What do you guys think?
Well, what comes to mind for me is that Christianity philosophy says there's the Father or the Spirit or universal intelligence, and then there's the Son, the creation, and there's the Holy Spirit, which is the intermediary, which understands both. It's kind of like in heaven and in earth, so it has traction. That's what just comes to mind. I'm not sure how that applies, and maybe that's not applicable, but that's what comes to mind.
Without intelligence, matter could not even exist. Without matter, intelligence could not be expressed.
Right.
That's right from Stevenson. Okay. There's a
That's
bit
understandable. That's right. That's understandable.
So that's understandable, right? You need intelligence expressed through matter. There is a bond between intelligence and matter that it cannot be dispensed with. These 3 factors, intelligence, matter, and the bond between them are inseparable. This bond is called force. You know, this is before they split the atom, right? They don't know, you know, atomic bonds or, electrons, and they're not knowing about atoms yet. So what we're really talking about is that, the grand design of the bonds creating matter in the universe. To me, that intelligence he's talking about is a spiritual intelligence of God.
Right.
I think that's what that intelligence to me is referencing.
And is the force something like the magnetic attraction between them?
Well, now
I think I may have found something here. Let me read you this. It may be too long, but I'm going to try here because it comes from the freshman text actually, and it's called the sixth step of the normal complete cycle. Force to specific unit. Changing force from the mental realm to the material realm, making phorons unusable to the tissue cell, making force out of thought so that it can be physical enough to get a grip on the matter. Changing thought to force so that it can be expressed in forms physical, concentrating or collecting mental forces in specific forms as they will have a definite aim or purpose. That's all in bold. Then he goes on, one of the hardest processes of the cycle to understand is this transformation. Perhaps we can get a slight insight into it by using the educated example of the same thing. We all know that if you sit and stare at your pencil, wishing that it would get up and write, nothing will be done with this pencil. But if you will a definite set of thoughts, concentrating it to a multitude of definite actions in your tissues will occur, and then you will take up your pencil and write. Thus, thought moved matter actually, but not until a definite set of thoughts were made specific enough to accomplish that end. When innate assembles universal forces in the brain cell, they are in the form of thoughts. In this non-specific state, they're called phorons. They are as yet thought, absolutely abstract, but the most powerful creations in nature, notwithstanding, being abstract, they have no connection with matter, no hold at all. And this ghostly state cannot grip it. Transformation is the process of so changing these phorons that they become a form of energy that does affect matter, does have a grip on it. I'm going to skip down to when phorons have been transformed, there are units called mental impulses. The force is now outside the mental realm and in the material realm, in which they can be reckoned a form of energy and as such be expressed in physical forms. I know that's
Right.
a lot. That's
No,
a lot.
I've read that before, and it remains a thing of wonder how how it goes from non-form to form.
That's like page 27 and 28 in Stevenson and the freshman text, just for reference.
Yeah, it's still
It's hard to grasp. It is.
now okay.
It's
So you said,
abstract,
like,
even at this level.
Maybe it's on a continuum.
Yeah.
Maybe like water, and then you heat it up and then it becomes steam. There's not really like a definite thing I can call physically the link. There is a link, but it slowly becomes.
Well, take it another step. Is it like ice that transitions to water and then to steam? You've gone from one total, or the other way, the abstract of steam, which you may not even see, the humidity in the air,
Right.
that gets contracted down to where it becomes water and then it becomes ice, which is substantial.
Right.
And it's scientifically, we can't necessarily, I can't personally explain that, but there's a nebulous area to this, certainly.
The first thing I just thought of when you guys were talking, Pasquale used to talk about the adjustment is like, what's it called when you skip the step of we go from solid to gas is
Volatilization.
Well, there's another term for it, sublimation.
Yeah.
And with the adjustment, that's what we're going from. is we're introducing a force, and it doesn't have to, we're not changing through matter, and we have an outcome at the end. And just as almost like, you know, when you see, this is when we had a meeting and we were talking about breaking the sound barrier, and you see those puffs of water vapor. But he talked a lot about sublimation, and we're transferring energy of our force into that adjustment, and we're adjusting into matter. And then the outcome is, you know, is really up to the intelligence within the body. It's not up to us. So we're delivering a force. The force, now we're talking about, you know, maybe different forces here of bond, right? We're talking about bonding things together in material. But, you know, bringing it into chiropractic of really is delivering that force and we're delivering it to matter. And then that energy within that matter makes a transformation within. You follow that?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is the other end of the same that's what makes it a cycle.
Yeah.
That innate creates innate has the ability to go from thought process to forerun to matter, and we're putting in a physical force into matter that then transitions back for innate to be able to reuse in another way.
I got an idea.
It becomes a loop that
I think
way.
it's amazing stuff we're talking about right now.
Oh,
Go ahead, Steve.
I think that the problem in understanding it is if we're understanding matter as being solid.
Okay.
We are not solid. We are energy. Everything's energy. If you know, look at atoms, the space between, we all know this, that what we have mostly is space. And so when I think about energy affecting, like intelligence is energy, matter is energy, force is the connection and the link between them, but it's all energy. That makes it a little bit more like, it's not like changing from solid to non-solid, to physical to non-physical, because there is nothing really physical about the physical.
You know, that's where exactly that. Then there is a bond between intelligence and matter. Without the intelligence, the matter doesn't matter. The matter would not exist.
Well,
That's right.
Well, that's
Actually, the matter is intelligence.
It's the expression of intelligence.
correct.
Yeah.
What'd you find, Alan?
Well, that was it. He refers back to Article 20, and that the epigram is BJ's pun: Christian Science, always mind, never matter. Medical science, always matter, never mind.
Ah, I love it. I love it. That's a great one.
Yeah, but that's what that was referring back to as Article 20, and that's what we're talking about now. Exactly that. And is intelligence non-material intelligence? Steve said something that rang a bell, and then I went off on a tangent. I lost it.
Well,
Intelligence and energy.
what we're honoring is that inborn intelligence that's created this matter, right? I had to talk with a student today. She just graduated. And that's one of the things I said, we're caring for the energy within the matter. It's not the matter that we're caring for. Yeah. I understand somebody has a backache or broken arm. That energy is holding all that together. I'm caring for the you within you, Arno used to say, but it is that the intelligence within that we're working with. The matter is just holding that together, or it's just an adjunct to it. Our connecting point. Go ahead, Steve. Or Alan, did you get your point? You get your thought? It'll
Just
get
go on.
It'll come. Go ahead, Steve.
There is no place where intelligence is not. Intelligence is in matter. Otherwise it couldn't exist. But in order for us to talk,
That may be a false statement.
what is false about that?
Intelligence doesn't need matter to exist, does
No,
it?
I'm saying wherever there is no place where intelligence is not.
Okay.
Intelligence is everywhere.
Okay, I'm just going to go back to this. Without matter, intelligence cannot be expressed.
Right.
Okay, that both of you, that's just refining what both of you said, is understanding that statement a little bit better. You need intelligence to be able to express that matter into physical form or physical action. We're making 3 million cells a minute. There's an intelligence creating that into the physical world from non-materia in my world. Should we go on to number 5? Or you guys have more?
I'm content. I'm content.
Drum roll, please. All right. If something comes up in the last one, you can go. We can refer back. The perfection of the triunity, principle number 5. In order to have 100% life, there must be 100% intelligence, 100% of force, 100% of matter. It is obvious that the 3 factors of the triunity are inseparable. They are not separable in part if 100% perfection is to be maintained. Since intelligence is always 100% perfect and always creates 100% force, it is certain that if any imperfections of the triunity exists, parentheses, clinical findings show that they do not exist, end parentheses.
They do exist.
That they do exist, my mistake, thank you. That matter is the only part of the triunity that can be imperfect. Since matter cannot be destroyed by any lesser agency than the creator, it is obvious that this imperfection is not in matter itself, but in the quantity, quality, and arrangement of matter. Hence, there are limitations in structures of matter. It isn't imperfect in its imperfect building, its imperfect arrangements, the wrong kind of matter for the purpose or even the lack of matter which should be in that structure but is not. From this fact arises the expression so often used fundamentally in chiropractic. The expression of intelligence may be hindered by limitations of matter. That was all a very big mouthful. Okay. If someone isn't healing, life is not changing, and they've been subluxated for decades. That's where I hear over and over again, there are limitations to matter.
Right.
And I heard the same analogy of people saying, listen, you water a garden for X amount of time, and then a kink happens in that water, in the garden hose, and you already have wilting flowers, and you start watering them, there's a limitation to that matter that might not bring them back because they've gone past that energetic ability to recreate that matter in the way that we expect it to. What do you guys think of this? Should we reread any part of that? You're like, no, Haig, please don't. Carol.
This is actually an interesting thought process here, because what this is actually talking about is quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and E equals MC squared wasn't written down until 1932, and this was written in 1927.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about that.
It's
And
amazing.
This is quantum physics here that before it existed.
Exactly.
I'm looking up Schrodinger. What year was Schrodinger and his cat? He was born 1887. But yeah, I mean, you know, we're talking quantum here. We're talking amazing. The vocabulary wasn't created yet. They've created that philosophy and created the vocabulary. Dee
right.
we talked about over and over again. He did the same thing. These guys are elaborating on it.
We have to remember that, you know, one of the things that I find amazing and that I wish more chiropractors would be conscious of is science is catching up to us.
Right.
Yeah.
On a daily basis. There's stuff that validates things that we've been saying for 125 years.
Right.
And science is catching up on a daily basis to us and validating things we've been saying. And we're running to and so many chiropractors are running to be ache and pain relief doctors instead of staying in the quantum realm, if you will.
You know,
Sorry, I'll get off that soapbox.
Bob wants to go. Senor Crystal.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, am I talking? You hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
You're talking.
Okay, so Pasquale used to say, and I'll do it in my best Brooklyn accent, if science can't explain it, that's too damn bad for science. Now, I know I have this conversation several times a day, at least. If someone wants to, you know, I want to let a person know what we're going to do and how it's potentially going to help them. But then I say, look, if I say something's going to heal, I'm a liar because I do not know if something's going to heal. And if I say something's not going to heal, I'm a liar because I don't know if it's not going to heal. And what right do I have to think I know better than the wisdom of God Almighty who put a healing power in us, whether something is going to heal or not?
Yep.
True that.
Awesome.
Right, bro. I love that.
That's fantastic. Exactly.
You know, and we can't tell when we put the energetic, you know, the old guys used to say, the chiropractor thrusts, the body adjusts. We use the term adjustment for what we do because it's easier for our practice to understand. But all we're doing is putting the force in as close as we can to what the body can use with our limits of educated brain to put it in the best way that we possibly can. And but the limitations of matter, we can't tell when we put that force in what the limitations may be, what damage may be. So physical damage may limit the ability of the intelligence of the body to make a repair. And it may be able to repair almost anything. I've seen amazing things happen, as I know you all have. But, you know, and I used to explain to my practice members, you know, the body put that spur on that bone for a reason. It created it. It started out as a positive, and it may have grown into something more, but it was there for a reason. And I'm not going to make it go away. I'm going to allow the body to decide if it wants to reabsorb it, and it can, but it may take a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them reabsorb. I had an 89-year-old woman, her MRIs from 5 years different were, I mean, her spine changed so much, re-imbibed the discs. It was amazing. And I said, she's like, look what you did. And I said, I didn't do that.
No.
Your body did that. I can't take credit for that. You
So
know,
do we,
No responsibility, take no blame.
go ahead, Steve.
I'm
Steve
wondering,
first, then Bob.
if, do we have enough wisdom to know that an irritation in that body, which we might call a limitation of matter, could produce a pearl, like in an oyster?
Absolutely.
Do we have enough knowledge to say that this particular limitation of matter isn't a positive thing? No, we don't know that much.
We don't know that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Bob.
I was just gonna say the only person I know who could actually tell you with no uncertainty was Sid Williams, because he could take a guy who was bald and turn him into make him like a shaggy dog.
A collie dog.
Woolly bear. I remember him saying woolly bear.
I tell you, I have a woman in my office with alopecia. She's two women actually.
Moth-eaten alopecia.
Moth-eaten alopecia. And I keep thinking of that story. I'm gonna make you look like a collie dog.
Golly dog. Golly dog, there it is.
Oh man, we all heard those stories over and over again.
Oh my God.
So, one of these things of just putting this into something practical really is that, one of the reasons even just doing my seminar is that a lot of the techniques have taken credit for the adjustment. And a lot of the orthogonal things too as well. I'm adjusting this bone and I got to have it right in exactly this place. And we're doing it right here in 10 post x-rays, when we've forgotten about how powerful innate is and the spirit that's within. And my mother had horrible sciatic pain, and it got worse and worse and worse, but it wasn't her sciatica that was the problem. Her shriveled up kidney started growing back to 8 centimeters and functioning at nearly 80 years old.
Wow.
And when I say I'm delivering the force, your body's doing the healing. I can't make God forbid I make your sciatic pain go away too fast. I don't know what's going on with that. Your body might be healing something else that we don't even know about. You might have polyps in your colon that are healing right now, for all I know. It's not what we want, it's what we need.
Right.
I had a patient recently, and I don't care that she said it's chronic. She's been to other chiropractors, and I adjusted her atlas, and I said, be open to the fact that this is probably the last time you'll ever have that symptom. Be open to that possibility, because in my practice, I expect that. I actually love migraine headaches. I actually love people who've had them their whole life, because I expect it to be gone. Just be open to that. Not that I'm treating, but just be open to the fact that this could be the end of it. And I expect it, actually. And guess what, guys? I see it all the time.
Well, that's partially, you create you allow them to create that expectation, because so many people are locked into their symptoms are them.
That's right.
The symptoms are often, symptoms are an expression of something else that's going on often, as we know that, mental and physiological expressions of other internal issues are normal, or the way things are expressed. But that people then say, it's chronic, I've had this forever, they expect it to be forever. And part of our job is to say, are you willing to let it go? Are you willing to say, maybe it can get better? Or I know that I've seen this get better. That's what I would say. I've seen this happen with other people, and I feel like it could happen with you too. And just allow them to have the thought, create that space for the improvement, because otherwise their mental educated gets in the way of innate in that case, right? Educated says, no, I can't do this, and tries to build the house, when innate says, I know what the structure is supposed to be. I can build this house without you.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
It's smarter than educated, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And there have been times, if it's appropriate, I will tell a patient, to be honest with you, I mean, it's nice if you feel better and you get relief, but I don't really, that's not what really this is about. I want you to leave this knowing, to trust that your body is, or that spirit is going to take care of you.
Yeah.
And you leave here knowing it. You leave here with confidence and trust. And whatever happens, know that it's part of the master plan. And that's really what turns me on. And that's why I'm still doing it.
What was his name? He was jailed the most. Not
Reeves.
What's it?
Reaver.
Reeves. Herbert Ross Reaver. Someone was asking him, why do you, he was nearly beaten to death, jailed 1 million times, 9 years, I think, total in jail, and adjusting people in his 90s. I think I heard stories that he even died adjusting someone. And they said, why do you keep doing this, every day, and you're still showing up in your 90s? Because every day I have a chance to teach people about innate, about their own innate. And that's empowerment. What we're talking about really is empowering people. It's not the pill, it's not the doctor, it's none of those things. You have the power within already. Let it do its job. And the student I was talking to today, she was talking, which everybody does. I did it too, and just want to shove chiropractic down people's throats. But people really want to know, I can help you. I will help you, and you're in the right place.
Right.
And that's about it. The more complicated we get, I used to say this a lot in my workshops, is really we spend so much time talking people out of chiropractic. Because the more we talk, the more they're convincing themselves, maybe this guy's right. He's annoying. Look at his bald head. Oh, whatever. You know what I mean? We just got to get down to business and just say, look, you're in the right place. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to help you help you. I'm going to help you help yourself.
I like that. Yeah.
And Pasquale used to say, shut up, you talk too much. And I remember I told the story earlier today, is that, a person came into his office and he said, Doc, I got this problem and that problem. And he just didn't say a word. And he said, why aren't you talking to me, Doc? He goes, you haven't been coming in doing what I tell you. So what's the point of me wasting my breath on you? It's like, all right. Okay. We just have to be that bold. Look, I'm going to help you. You got to show up. That's it. You're not going to do what I say. What's my point? Waste my time on you. There'll be a million people behind us. They need chiropractic. Once we have this integrity for ourselves and knowing what we do 100%, the lines form and we'll change this world. I was thinking, why do we do this? And it's really we're bringing a tone and vibration into chiropractic that hasn't existed up till now. And if we're helping one chiropractor think more clearly and serve more clearly, then we're changing the world. But it's more than one. I posted today, we've got every month 1,250 minutes of people listening to this podcast on YouTube, just on YouTube. On Spotify, there's so many more, because what's happening, they're listening in Europe and all around the world and getting a clear understanding of chiropractic, where the rest of chiropractic is confused people fully. Bob, go ahead. You got something?
I overheard, and I don't mean to disrespect another profession, but I'm going to just tell the story anyhow.
Go ahead.
I overheard a medical doctor that I know today talking about some lady who's had, she's falling asleep and she's got vertigo and this and that ever since she had COVID. And his whole determination of it was she has COVID, post-COVID encephalitis. And I think he almost rested on the fact that he could name it.
Right.
And I felt so bad for him and for this patient that they didn't seek chiropractic care, which, let's face it, we know there's a possible limitation of matter and we may not help them get well. But you know what? I had a strong feeling if that lady was to get adjusted by any one of us, she probably would get well. And we wouldn't care what it was called.
You know what? And you said that the last part of that, not just saying us only, but conscious chiropractors thinking clearly about what we do, because there's a difference between getting a bone moved and then going and getting a proper chiropractic adjustment from, I say, spiritually grounded in chiropractor, because you can just move a bone, but I'd much rather get it, Bob Crystal move that bone, or Steve or Alan or Mason or Marina, and probably Carol too. And and I think of Patsy Sigafoose, she probably adjusted more people than Sigafoose did. But on a real note, is that who you are, who we are vibrating in this world, how we're grounded in it, makes a difference in our adjustment, 100%.
And what Bob was talking about, when you put the name on it, it goes back to that anchoring of the issue for the person.
It's mine.
And it creates that block of symptoms for them that they can hold on to and say, this is who I am.
They
and we
carry it
have to-
around forever. They carry it around forever.
That's
I had a
right.
patient one time. She'd been getting adjusted for years. She used to have asthma when asthma attacks, whatever you want to call it. I know it's a different language. When she first started coming in, and they stopped, and they hadn't had one in 2-3 years. And she says to somebody, "My asthma," in front of me, and I said, "My asthma." I said, "When's the last time you had an asthma attack?" She says, "Oh, like 3 years ago." I said, "Why are you saying my asthma?" She says, "Because the doctor said it's incurable."
Right. Right.
And to go to anchor back to where we started, it's the intelligence in the individual is always perfect.
Right.
Energy, the force created by that intelligence is always perfect and always trying to adapt. And the innate intelligence of the body that is part of that force, its job is to adapt to forces that come into that body to allow the body to be healthy, because health is the entity. Disease is not an entity. Health, ease is the entity. And the limitations of matter are the obstruction to that expression. And what we're doing is trying to find areas where we can put in a little energy from the outside that innate intelligence can then use and adapt to create a higher level of health.
And it's a bitter shame that the majority of new patients that come to me are looking to remove something that is helping them, which is their symptom.
Symptom is often a positive. It's if it didn't hurt, you'd leave your hand in the damn fire.
Go ahead, Bob.
It just dawned on me. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "Acknowledge me." I'm paraphrasing. "Acknowledge me in all your ways, and God in all your ways, and He will make your path straight." And it dawned on me just now. Our science or philosophy or science philosophy, hyphen philosophy, whatever you want to call it, it starts with a basic premise that there's this creator of the entire universe. In other words, we acknowledge that as a grand part of our science. No wonder He makes our path straight. We're not doing anything. He's doing it, but He's doing it because we're giving Him credit.
Right on. That's our major premise, bro. That's number one. There's
Absolutely.
a universal intelligence.
And that's the part the schools are afraid to teach. They are afraid to teach.
Well, then
that.
they ought to close them down.
Even Dee Dee said it is a part of our education. We have to have it. They're afraid to teach it. They don't teach it in any school of spiritual nature or chiropractic. It's why we do this. It's
Hey,
why
listen to
we read, 1914. It's one of the most important things for us to get this understanding. Mason, how can we inspire more students to get connected with the grounding in our philosophy? What do you think?
That's kind of difficult because
I know it is.
there's just a lot of students. Every quarter they come in and they have their own view of what they're expecting and what they're not expecting, and sometimes things hit them in the butt and they run right into it, or maybe there's only maybe one or two professors that might actually show you the way, and then a lot of the students they question that and then they disagree and to their extent. So it has to be on their own term, I feel like, to be able to understand the chiropractic lifestyle.
We're taking things down to the minutia, and we're getting into deeper philosophy, being a little more superficial and delivering it in a way that people can digest easily and then get deeper. This is a lot. We just went through some big stuff here.
I want to grab onto something that Mason said, and that is, he said the same thing we were just talking about, because the problem with the schools is that the students come in and they believe that chiropractic, they've been told chiropractic is back pain, neck pain, headaches, and that's what they believe. They've bought it. That's what they came in to be able to change. It's like a disease if you put a name on. That's what and to be able, and what do we need to do to help them move to understand our principles? You know, we call it, some people call it philosophy. It's our core principles and the explanation of those principles that is what we talk about here on this when we have our conversations every week. And how do you help them move from what they were? How do you adjust them? How do you put that energy force in? You know, in this case, it has to be conversation, I think, as well as being able to show them when you Mason adjust people, or how you express what you're doing with your practice members that you see in clinic, whatever, and show them and the results that you get versus the results that they get, and be able to say, this is the bigger picture. There's more available than just helping people with back pain. But how do you get them there is they have to understand what we're talking about here on a weekly basis.
This is why we're doing this. Now,
Yeah.
if you look at the body of chiropractic as sick, and that there's a limitation of matter in the body of chiropractic,
Yeah.
we do not approach it allopathically. We're not trying to fix it. What we're doing on these calls is lighting a candle. We ain't fighting it. A lot of chiropractors are fighting it, and that makes the other side even deeper down in their trench, dig deeper in their trench. So what we're doing here is the solution. And wherever because we're not allopathic in our cure of the body of chiropractic, we adjust and allow chiropractic to happen. Because like Bob said, there's our major premise, and it's taking care of it.
Takes two to fight, right? And Dee Dee said, you know, it's very difficult to change the medical fighter into the peaceful chiropractor.
Right.
And we're bringing peace. And I love it what you guys said. Thank you very much. I mean, that it grounds it. We've got to inspire and create a dialogue and create this newness. So that's exactly why we're here. We've been doing this over a year now.
Mason, don't be afraid to shine your light.
Oh yeah, I do my best.
We're here to support you, brother.
That's minding your own business, man. And that's what we're here to do.
You know, sometimes people look at me crazy, and sometimes
It's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
Fine.
Yeah, sometimes
That's a
they
good
agree.
sign.
Yeah.
Don't let them chip your armor, man.
Oh no, I know what I know.
Of course they're going to look at you like you're crazy because you're shining the light. They don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's easier to see and be in the darkness.
Easier to go along with the mass.
Yeah.
Hey, listen to this real quick. I think it was Tuesday. This patient, she'd been going to another chiropractor, and this was her second adjustment. She came in, she said, you know what? After that last adjustment, I just felt really sad, and I tried to stuff it. And when I did, my pain in my back got worse. And she said, I just cried and I let it go. She said that after that last adjustment, she just allowed the sadness because a bunch of people died in her life. That's a hell of a good healing going on with her. And yeah. So
Big time.
that's beautiful, right?
Oh yeah. Big time.
That's an adjustment happening, and it's still
It's a
happening.
beautiful thing.
The
Yeah.
adjustment happens for me. I tell them the adjustment is happening between visits.
Yeah. Let this unwind. Be kind to yourself. I even tell people, be kind to yourself today. That's beautiful stuff, guys and ladies. Okay, we're at 8:50, and I just want to hang out with you guys all the time. I really do.
I missed you last week.
I missed you last week too. I logged on with the computer behind me right here, and I went back to my old computer because it logs me on with a different number. It's like it didn't work. So I was sitting here at like 8:10. I'm like, man, I felt sad for myself. And I just did for our morning podcast about holding space. And I told the story about my friend Wade Port when he was starting. It was the Path of Mastery, And there were days no one showed up, and he held that space there. And I told the story of that. And it was the same day that I was sitting here and no one showed up. But it was all my fault. It was all my fault. But it was taught me a lesson of love for myself. All right. I love and appreciate all of you guys and gals.
This has been a great talk this week. I appreciate it.
Good one.
Appreciate all you guys.
I appreciate you too. And I'll be at Life on the 23rd for Innate Baby. And I'm going to be on vacation, but I think I'm going to still have our podcast because I like doing it. And the last time I did it, it was very fun. We did it in the woods then too.
Yeah, that's right. You were in the woods.
You remember that one?
Yeah, in the garage. Yeah.
And the cat jumped on me on my back to the woods. And the cat jumped. I almost jumped like 10 feet in the air.
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm going to be away next week. I'm going to try and log in, but I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll try.
Well, have a beautiful day, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. All right?
See you next week.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.